Alright, we're playing catch up a little bit this week, so I'll skip over any bug fixes and unimportant updates. But last week there was a large change to Castle Wars, including the introduction of plotted crates to the reward shop, but that's since been disabled, so let's not worry about those yet. The other Castle Wars updates included the following. You can now only enter through the Green Gothics portal. You'll get one additional ticket for participating in a game. The Castle Wars brew now also applies the effects of stamina and super restore potions. Helmets can now be worn, enabling the use of set effects. Bandages now scale with your HP level and can overheal. Castle Wars bracelets can now be handed to Lanthus to store charges, automatically consuming one per game. You can use blighted food and cast vengeance with blighted sacks while in the lobby. On non-Castle Wars worlds, you can shove targets back to back using the Dragon Spear and Zamaraki enhanced special attacks. And you'll get a rune pouch when entering Castle Wars, providing unlimited runes for select spells. Using this won't grant casting XP, but will award XP based on damage dealt. And they've also introduced a barricade cap on Castle Wars worlds, which restricts teams to 7 barricades outside and 10 inside the base. Placed barricades will now also have a coloured rope to indicate which team they belong to, and they can be placed in front of the respawn barriers. Then for the miscellaneous changes in last week's update, the UI for the rune pouch got a new withdrawal options. An optional warning was added for when using an item on explorers rings to alch them, and they adjusted the Chaos Fanatics AoE attack so that it will only affect the last player who engaged in combat. Then today we have the announcement for what will be included in poll 84, and it includes a huge change coming soon. They stated today that they are removing the 1 hour clue despawn timer and changing it back to 3 minutes, regardless of what happens next. But they were also going to pull a clue scroll box, which will be a new way to stack up to 5 clues of each tier. And there's also the possible introduction of skip tokens, which would be a tradable stackable drop from clue caskets, allowing you to skip a single step of a clue of that respective tier. But they've already posted an update to say that they're going to separate all things stackable clues from the rest of the proposed updates today, so we can consider that shelved again for now until they bring out a new proposal for it soon. The rest of the poll will include things like an Abyssal Sire rework, melee Azulra, consistent raid layouts for normal Cox raids, new agility shortcuts, Chinchompa changes, and more. But some updates won't be pulled, and that includes the addition of a repeat last offer feature for the GA, standardized interfaces in-game so options will always appear in a consistent order, a smaller warmth overhead bar in Wintertodd, stackable hunter traps, the option to recover missed quality in Giant's Foundry by getting the bonus action tick perfect, and clicking one bird's nest will then auto-queue the rest. There are a few other less important ones that you can read about in the blog post if you're interested, but let's get into the changes that are actually being released in today's game updates. First up, farming improvements. Gardeners will now be confined to a 3-tile diameter, and leprechauns are now stationed closer to herb patches. Using a tree seed on a plant pot will now continue planting similar seeds, and watering potted seeds will also continue automatically too. Then we have the autocast changes, which means that your set autocast will no longer be cleared when you don't have the level or the runes to cast that selected spell. Instead, it'll stay and recast again once you regain the runes or the levels, and you can now select a spell to autocast regardless of its level or whether or not you have the runes available. Then in the other changes today, they've transitioned music tracks from 8 to 16-bit for improved quality. The magic defense has been reduced for Krill, Skatizo, Demonic Gorillas, and Cerberus. Iron Men can now gift bonds to other players, and the collection log is now in the high scores panel in the sidebar. Plotted crates at Castle Wars were re-enabled with a few item changes, and they've added new top floor and bottom floor options for the ladders at the Grand Tree, the Lighthouse, and the Lumbridge Castle staircase. And finally, the check option on the friendly zombie pirate now tells you how many times you've opened the locker. The PvP rota has moved to period B, and the PvP arena is using max med loadouts and rank duels and tournaments this week. And with that, we are up to date again on all of the big old school changes, and I will see you next week with the next set of updates.